Good morning, everyone. Welcome back for some more games of Gwent. My name is Rooster, and this is the deck I've been having a decent time with the past few days on both the ladder and in casual mode. Loosely based on a one of the less popular decks at the top ranks, I think, but still a very good deck, except for maybe the fact that it has some trouble with the poor infantry decks that are ravaging the competitive ladder, unfortunately. But aside from that matchup, I've been having a lot of fun with this deck. It's basically based on throwing a lot of dudes out on the board, and doing that over and over and over again. This is far from an optimized list. First of all, you would definitely want to include Bloody Baron in the deck, as well as Priscilla, quite possibly a card like King of Beggars. There's some improvements to be made, but I've been having a decent amount of success with this deck so far, and while I've gone so far without actually crafting any cards, I might as well just try it a little longer. I'm not quite sure why I'm doing that anymore, but it's to prove a point, I guess. Let's do a casual game and then hop into ladder for a few more. And hope to not run into any other Foltest players, because that's the main problem this deck has. Mostly poor infantry. Some of the other matchups are a little trickier, but it seems to be working out quite well so far. So let's hope we can find an opponent in a reasonable time frame and we can show off what the deck's supposed to do. So let's see what we're up against. It's usually monster players in casual mode, actually, but our opponent is level 29, so can expect some decent cards at the very least. Let's look at the mulligans here. So what we're looking for is a way to generate 3 Redanian leads, first of all. So we're looking for any combination of 3 Reaver Scouts and Redanians. And we usually want to throw away any extra copies of Blue Stripe Scouts, any extra copies of Medics, but we don't have any Medics right now, and I would really like to see one of those. Let's throw away Aeromancy, because I don't like it against Eredin. Well, against any monster player, I don't like First Light, really. Kidweenie Sergeant we can do without, and we got a Medic, so this is pretty perfect, except for the fact that we're lacking 1 Reaver Scout or Redanian Elite, so I'm not really sure what our best course of action is. Actually, let's play Thalar first and see if we can mulligan the Blue Stripes, which is the least relevant card in our hand right now, I think. I do want to keep a First Light around in case we are getting weathered, so let's throw away the Blue Stripe Scout. That is a Medic, but, well, it's not a card we want to use in the first round, I'm afraid. We may just have to throw in the Towel for the first round, unless we draw something meaningful with Stennis. I am thinking about using Stennis here. We could also just make an effort to act like we're actually investing something, but I like using Stennis in the round you're going to lose anyway. So go with the blank card, and we are decently prepared for the next round. Let's see if our opponent plays another card, then I'm willing to throw in another one. In how many cards can we grab the win here? We need to make up for 23 strength. 23 strength means we can Igni for 8 and 8. That's a decent amount. I don't hate using the Redanian either. 23 is a lot. Triss is by herself 14, a 14 and a 16. That's a bit much. We could go for Redanian plus. It's always going to cost us too much, I think. So I think since we always have to invest either our 2 gold cards or any combination of 3 cards that we're passing here, we really didn't invest that much, so don't mind giving up the round for a 1 card advantage, especially with our hand being as poor as it was. So let's start the Redanian train on this round and see how our opponent will react. Can reasonably expect can reasonably expect them to play carefully. But an early pass I wouldn't mind. If they passed early, then that's probably okay. Alright, so going for the Frost, I'm certainly fine with him frosting here. That means that his monster passive isn't going to do a whole lot. I'm a little scared of rain, but we do have some weather to make up for that, so that's probably fine. If he rains here, that's a little awkward, but at least we can also clear the Frost, so it's probably okay-ish. Oh, we could Igni that at some point, which I don't hate. But let's go for the Reaver Scout again.
You one of us or not?
Then we're saving Foltest for the final round. I'm okay with that. Wanna get a few cards out of our deck right now. Ooh, and we actually have a revive, so we could go for the medic into Reaver Scout into something. But we could just make our opponent give up if we Gigni here, I think. I'm not quite sure. Would also like to decoy something, but that's not entirely necessary, I guess. Let's go for Geralt in the melee row. That's another 16-point swing. That's a little hard to make up for, I think. So I'm kind of okay with it. Ooh, okay. Well, something that we could try here is use a First Light and see if we can get a Sergeant. Not entirely reliable, of course, and the alternative might be a little awkward in that we might get a Reaver, what's it called again? The one that we keep mulliganing. Could also try for Thaler. Resurrect the Thaler, and it's always going to be a little awkward, I think. How about we Triss? I kind of want to keep Triss for the last round, just to have some amount of gold strength. Let's go for the rally. See what we get. A Sergeant would be really good here. Medic, not upset about that. We're a little short on time, especially with the Thaler. Can we mulligan the Reaver Scouts? We're too late, I think. Yeah, we're too late. Wait, what? Oh, okay, that happened, I guess. That was a little tight on time. So if you... Does that always happen? Did we just experience a bug, or that was really odd? I don't mind getting that card. I need another copy. Anyway, that was not supposed to happen. And complicated turns like that, you should definitely not wait until the very end of the timer, I guess. That was really odd. Yeah, that could be related to some kind of actions happening at the same time as the timer running out. I'm not really sure what happened. We were in a tough spot that game. I wasn't expecting so much power to come out of our opponent with the Crones. So that was odd. Let's go for another match and hop into ranked afterwards, I think. Because that didn't really count for a game, did it? Let me take a little bit of drink. Come on, can we please get into a match? I may have to cut this out and then start my round all over again. But if we find an opponent relatively soon, then there we go. Matchmaking can take surprisingly long for how... Actually, my casual matchmaking is probably decent-ish. So I don't know. Anyway, going for mulligans against Foltest, so we could be up against poor Infantry, in which case, well, we might as well just give up right away. I don't think we have much of a chance, unless we get a really good Aeromancy and he stumbles in the second turn or something. Any alternatives? Let's see. We have a Redanian, we have 2 Reaver Scouts, so that's good. In that case, I don't like First Light against Northern Realms. And do we want to risk mulliganing anything else? I think I'm pretty satisfied with this. I don't often not use any of my mulligans, but this is a case where I'm actually fine with that. I think our hand is only getting
You
worse
stand before royal majesty.
with anything we use. That is a little bit of an odd start. He might be looking to throw away the first round, or he's just looking for some very specific cards. That could be true. But starting out with Stennis is really odd. But let's play Redanian and see what he's up to. I don't mind committing one of these, just because I can always resurrect one next round. What do we do against these guys? That's a great question. I think we make absolutely sure that we win the first round. So let's go for the Redanian over here, and then see what we can do. Yeah, so this is not a match I expect to win. We do have to try our best to win the first round, and then I'm not really sure how we fare in the second. I was actually hoping to hop into casual queue to avoid decks like this, but
Broker shit peddlers.
goes to show that nowhere is safe, I guess. So what else is up? Does he have another Madrini? What? How do you pronounce that card, actually? I'm just going to call it Spores, regardless. How about he can copy that with Foltest, so we can at least shoot it a little bit. Does that matter? Shooting it now? Well, shooting it now makes the rest of the round easier, right? So I don't think that's that bad of an idea. Yeah, that's probably fine. That at least makes his current turn a little more awkward, because now he's copying only 14 strength. So he does get 3 11 strength poor infantries in his graveyard, which is going to be a little awkward. But if he doesn't have Shani, we can still win the second round, I think. Don't hate using Stennis here, to be fair. We could also go... We can't really pass here, because he has got the means to win this first round, and if we lose this, then we're in a rough spot. That deck doesn't run a lot of removal, so I can't really count on making use of the medics. I guess we Stennis just to get some more fuel. Let's go for the blind card. Maybe deep promote something? If we can reanimate Triss on the next round? I don't know about this. At least we can Frost, I guess, to win this round. So can we get him to pass? That's another interesting one. Yennefer's not awful here. Actually quite decent. I don't want to use my first light, just because I might get a medic, which is useless right now. Yennefer, as long as you have more minions, well, significantly more or significantly less minions than your opponent, then Yennefer is a pretty good strength swing. So I usually keep a rule of thumb: if you have 2 more minions or 2 less minions, then she's a pretty good swing. I think she's a 12-point swing at that point. I could actually be wrong. Okay, so our opponent passes, that's okay. We didn't need to use our weather, so that's good. He didn't go any... he didn't go all in any further than he has, so we're okay-ish. Now the main thing to watch out is that he should not have Shani, because if he Shani's a row of poor infantry, then we might be in trouble. What's in our graveyard right now? We have mostly Redanians and Reaver Scouts, right? And Stennis is not awful. So we can start chaining medics, I think. That sounds like a decent idea. So we're aiming to win this second round. We're not giving him another. Going absolutely all in. Oh, that's not what I expected. We actually might be facing a lower level player, so we might have a chance. I'm not holding out, but we might be okay.
Tell me you jest.
That might mean he doesn't have a Baron or a Renew or a Geralt Igni or something. That's a little awkward, I will admit, but since we have already decided that we're going all in here, I don't feel too bad about that.
Any last words?
Alright, so a slight buff on the siege tower, that's fine. I think that means we are using a rally right now, just to see what we get, basically. Another big buff on the medic, since that's most likely what we're copying with our Foltest ability, so that's fine. A little awkward. Now, if we're using any, if we're using weather, it will most likely be on the siege row anyway. So I'm kind of okay with that, to be honest. Making a medic chain, a little more tempting to use it on Frost right now, but this is probably okay. Just make sure that we have the last play, which is actually kind of significant. If that gets the time to tick, then we may wish to fog instead. Let's definitely consider that. Is there a medic still in our deck? There is still a medic in our deck. I would like to reanimate some Reaver Scouts, but that might not be in our options right now. We could also decoy a medic. I would actually like... yeah, decoying a medic sounds like a great idea. Usually it's between decoying a Reaver Scout and decoying a medic, and it mostly depends on how many of each you still have in your deck.
No time to whimper.
But I would like to use multiple medic effects here. That sounds like a great idea to me. Are we still going all in here? What can we do next turn if we... well, he hasn't used any poor infantry yet. I think we do want to run him out of cards. We want to force him to play his last remaining cards, right? Yes. So how about we use our last first light? I'm not expecting him to have any weather. So this is probably okay. Let's not go all in on the melee row, just in case he does have some kind of weather. And we can still decide on which row to use the weather on. Might actually have to be the melee row right now. Which means that going all in on my own melee row might not have been the smartest move ever. Do we go with a medic? Medic goes first, right? There's still a medic in our deck. That is fine.
What do you want of me?
It's actually a little awkward because I seem to have all of the copies of everything except my last Reaver Scout already.
Are you wounded?
So,
again?
Not really making the best use out of that at the moment. If I Frost here, do I still have the lead? I don't think so. In that case, we might as well just pass this round. We made him use his last medic. If I Frost, I lose 22 points, and he loses 49. That's not enough for us, and we can't make that up with Shani right now. So we actually have 2 cards for the last round. We're passing, giving him this one, and we just hope he doesn't top deck Shani, and then we should be reasonably okay. Well, unless he top decks Shani or Baron, but then we can still Frost the melee row. So I'm actually okay here. Or we just play any random minion and we're fine. Alright, well, that is how you can force a poor infantry deck to go all in, I guess. Although that was far from an optimized deck list, so I wouldn't want to extrapolate too far. I will give you a good game, opponent. You tried your best. And outcarding an opponent is always a great way of securing a win. Especially if you have a card like Aromancy in your hand, of course. Let's jump into some ranked games. We are in the ranked queue right now, right? Ranked game, and let's see who we are up against. We're running at between let's say 1300, 1400 somewhere. I haven't really gone ham on the ladder, mostly because the connection is still a little shaky at times, and losing ranked games over disconnection issues is still a really big feel bad. Mostly, I don't really care too much about my ranking, and you can definitely make up for it, but
wasn't built in a day.
it just puts a real damper on your mood. Let's keep it at that. Level 15 Brouver Hoog. Let's see what we can do about that. So again, in Mulligans we're looking for combinations of Redanians and Reaver Scouts right now. Don't want to throw away my only medic. We do have 3 golds in hand. This is a little awkward. All of our cards are good. Let's throw away the last Reaver Scout. And then, against Scoia'tael. That's a great question. Against Scoia'tael, I don't like Geralt Igni all that much, to be honest. We don't quite have enough to really make the Redanians work, but against Scoia'tael we may just not need to. Gotta be a little careful of fireball traps, although Brouver might not go too ham on that. If anyone's going ham on fireball traps, it's usually either Ethne, or what was I going to say? Or Francesca. There we go. It's mostly the ladies with the traps. Do we play another elite? Having 2 in our graveyard makes it does not make it any harder to go off with them next round, so that's probably okay. And looks like our opponent is playing Dwarves. That's an interesting one. Do we want to decoy our elite? That seems like a little greedy. But our hand is looking a little awkward. I kind of want to save Triss for any resilient units, any units that stay for the next round. I don't want to use my only medic because I may not have one for next round. Yennefer is rather poor right now. Shani is a major waste. No offense. Actually, if the medic works, we can Foltest one of our Redanians and then have a reasonable board that we can pass with against the Scoia'tael. The main thing to watch out for is card advantage when you're playing against Scoia'tael from experience. That is an interesting choice. Does not add too much strength to the board, interestingly, so we could actually go with a medic, or we can decoy our own medic. How's that? I actually don't hate that. I would like to save a decoy for a possible Yavin, which most Brotherhood decks do run. But in this case, I think this is okay, especially since he killed another one of the Redanian elites. And that looks like the kind of minion I would like to kill with Triss, so could go for that right now. Or could go for a full test on the Redanian, getting another one into our graveyard. That's actually pretty good. Do have to be a little careful with the amount of medics we have right now, but I do like the idea of trissing that dwarf before he buffs the crap out of it. So let's go with that. I should be using my mouse more, especially at the end of the last game. That was a little awkward. So I usually keep my fingers on the keyboard. The game controls fine without, but just a matter of personal preference, I guess. Let's go with the medic and see if our opponent thinks this is a fight worth fighting. He might, and that's fine. That's his right. He's got a couple of units to save for the next round, but this should be a reasonable strength gain that I'm confident with. He could just pass here, but giving up one card. We're not actually giving up one card advantage because we were actually ahead a card there. We could have passed, but that would have been a difference that's all too easy to avoid. Now the question remains here: do we think he has? Do we think he has First Light in hand, because I would like to rain down on his siege row. I would definitely like that. That is a little greedy, and we could just save that for next turn. How about that? If that is to reveal, do we instantly lose? We are ahead by 16. To reveal would be only 12. So that is actually fine. If we're passing here and we're giving up 2 card advantage on a loss, then that is fine. He has to use another card, using Barclay Elves to buff for more than enough. Alright, that is fine. He gets to keep a couple of his minions, but we are ahead by 2 cards, and that's good against Scoia'tael. Also, he doesn't get to reuse his Barclay Elves over and over, and that's a thing that Scoia'tael players, especially Dwarf players, of course, are known to be fans of. So that's good. We can start the medic train right about now. We do have 1 medic in the graveyard. We're guaranteed. Oh, we're actually guaranteed to get the Redanian leads for now. So then we can medic, we can Reaver Scout a medic, and then resurrect the last one. We could actually go for Shani here if we want to resurrect something else. But let's see how the medic does first, and then we can Shani afterwards, I think. We have a little bit of catching up to do here, but that's probably okay. First Light into Rally, okay, so that's 1 First Light he's not using on on our Aromancy. We can just run him out of cards here. That's not the worst idea I've had all day. If I resurrect this, then we swing the board by 12, which I definitely like. So this puts us just a slight bit ahead, and that's just the way I like it. Definitely a candidate for Frost anytime soon. If we're frosting, then would I like to... It doesn't really matter, I guess. I would like to actually resurrect something other than directly a Redanian. I guess if we're frosting, we could actually go for Stennis here. I do like Reaver Scouts, but I like blank cards a little bit more. Oh, that's actually interesting. How much does that swing for us? I guess we're kind of obliged to frost at this point, but that's fine. If he passes here, we can frost and we win the round. Actually, do we? Oh, we definitely do now. I'm feeling a little sad for the guy now. Yeah, that's fine. I do want to make sure that he doesn't have a First Light, so definitely want to commit another card here. Let's go with the Redanian, because we did copy 1 in the first round, so we had another one in our hand. He does not want to pass. This is not going to feel good for him. We can actually... we have equal boards, 5 versus 6, 6 of mine. Then Yennefer is better played as a buff, and that is fine, because that means we're removing more strength from his board. Am I fine with committing Yennefer here? I actually am. So this adds slightly more to our board than to his board, plus we get 11 strength from Yennefer, so that's fine. Playing Yennefer as a 15 here, which is pretty good. And we frost to make up the difference. Oh, I keep forgetting this guy is immune to frost. I completely forgot about that. But no harm done. No harm done. That scared me a little bit, but at least the resilient guys aren't immune to frost, so that's fine. Nothing that stays is actually important. Good. What can we copy? We don't have any blue stripe scouts, which is a little annoying, because we don't have any copyable medics right now. So I guess we'll have to go with the Redanian plan, of which there are none left in our deck. Alright. That's going to be a little awkward. We have 1 Reaver Scout in the graveyard, so at least we can pull out another Reaver Scout with our Reaver Scout, I guess. Is that going to be the best idea? Maybe it is. That is a little annoying. granted. Let's go with the Reaver Scout first. We're
wounded?
going to
Again?
use the Reaver Scout on the Reaver Scout
But
anyway.
we're
So
broke as shit peddlers.
that's the only thing we can still pull out of our deck. So a Reaver Scout here is worth just as much as a Redanian Elite, which is fine. In this case it did get killed, so that's a little annoying, because now we have a Reaver Scout in our hand that does nothing. I'm a little annoyed here. Then we go with Shani. Shani gives us a decent enough strength buff. Let's go Shani into Redanian and then hope that's enough. I'm actually slightly concerned here. But that's mostly because I expected our medics to be slightly stronger than they appear to be right now. But apparently the last card of our opponent is also a dud, so that's good. Alright, let's give it one more game, shall we? We didn't really have any spectacular medic plus Reaver Scout change, and that is one thing I was hoping to actually show off here. So we're almost a perfect number right here. And let's give it one more shot, or perhaps two. That might be running a little long. Alright, going back into a new ranked game. The last one we unfortunately had to abandon because of a disconnect, so that's a little annoying. It was against the Brouver deck, which I think I had a decent first round against, despite him decoying my Foltest, my Stennis, I mean. Names are still confusing. Against a Radovid, how do we feel about that matchup? I definitely need some Redanians in my life, but I do like keeping a Sergeant, so I'm a little hesitant about throwing too many cards away. First Light can go, Stennis is good, Decoy is good, all of these cards are pretty good actually. Perhaps Igni is not the best one. And we do have Thaler to throw away any unnecessary cards should we get one, so that's fine. We don't have a Reaver Scout or anything. So perhaps if I had to mulligan one of these cards, which one would it be? That's a great question, I don't know. I actually don't want to throw away any cards right now, so let's also play a Redanian here. Hope he doesn't reinforce, that would be annoying. Was that a reinforce? That was a reinforce, right? So he has another Redanian in his hand. That's actually fine. So I should not be too concerned. Do I mind having two Redanians in my graveyard? I don't, to a degree, I think. So let's actually Reaver Scout this one and at least pretend that we have the third and see if he makes a response. There we go. So that means we could go for a medic right now, but I would prefer not to, actually. How about we go for a Stennis and see if we can actually complete the set of 3. If he has a decoy, then he's free to use it on that, because we do have a decoy to grab it right back. So that's not the worst idea. I think I'm grabbing the Reaver Scout here, because that does allow us to actually make a full set, which is a really resilient barrier against most decks. Now can we catch up in 2 cards? Because that's as far as I'm willing to go with this. We do have one Redanian in our graveyard, so should we have 2 Reaver Scouts and the complete set on the table, plus 1 Field Medic, that would be barely enough to beat out what he has over here. So I do like that. 2 Scouts, 2... yes, definitely. Oh wait, then we do have to... no, this is actually fine. So we pull out the last Redanian from our deck. And if he passes, we can grab the win by just using a Field Medic. So in that case, it's actually fine. Because this will add 6 and 6, yes. So we Field Medic. In this case, it's worth using the Field Medic, I think, because it gives us the win for this round. There we go. If we could not easily grab the win with 2 cards, then I would have probably just passed there. But in this case, I'm pretty happy with this situation, especially since he didn't decoy our Stennis. That's pretty good. I was about to say I would like to see a Field Medic here, And we did get one, which makes me pretty happy. We can actually pass here and force him to play a card and then go first in the last round. I think I actually like that approach. So let's pass, make him play his least valuable card, I guess. And then he goes first in the last round, which gives us another card advantage. Plus we do have the decoy in hand, which is pretty sweet. I'm feeling pretty good here. Which card in my hand is the least valuable, would I say? That's a great question. Perhaps it's the Igni, perhaps it's actually the Thaler, but I can't use Thaler to remove Thaler from my hand, unfortunately. Perhaps it's the Sergeant, but it's too soon to tell, I'm afraid. Let's just go with the Medic and see what we can do. And this might be a decent chain we've got here. It's not spectacular, but we could have pulled the last Medic with... If this Medic would have pulled another Reaver Scout, and that way boards can get quite insane quite fast. And that's the amazing part about this deck. It can really pull a board out of nowhere. But our opponent seems to be on the same train, so we still have some challenges here. I think I would like to buff the Reaver Scout here, because we can Foltest that one, pull our last Medic. Wait, actually our last Medic is already in the graveyard, right? So in that case we want to copy a Medic so it can potentially revive the Reaver Scout. There we go. Sometimes forming coherent thoughts is a challenge, but I think we're doing relatively fine here, especially since we can now grab some more card advantage. I doubt that's necessary, but we can, so we probably should. Am I worried about that trebuchet over there? Not really, to be honest. This is going to be a long round, so it will get some value eventually. That's a little annoying, I will admit. Because I was going to copy that. But we do still have 2 medics left available, so I'm reasonably fine here. Would like to revive the Reaver Scout on this one, but we may be unable to. Actually we can, but that's a little risky. If we're planning on frosting, then I guess we can Prince Dennis right now. See what we get. Or perhaps we would like to filter our deck a little more. For example, by reviving... let's just go and revive the Redanian first.
Are you wounded? Again?
Just to make sure we actually are able to do that. Trebuchet fires in 2 turns, that's fine. He's got a bunch of removal, so perhaps the Redanians are not in the books for us. That could definitely be a thing. Am I too worried about that? Not really, not really. I'm actually reasonably fine with that. Are we expecting any fancy gold cards? Perhaps we can actually... We could have depromoted our Shani and then had another one available, but... how about we go for Shani here, and then... it's going to be a little awkward regardless. Let's go with Stennis. And I would like to go with Triss here, actually. It's just too much value to go for a random card that may or may not actually be helpful. So the Redanians might not be a thing that happens here. Ooh, that's surprising, to say the least. Is he going to shoot up with Radovid? That could be a thing, and that would be rather sad, I guess. Is there something we absolutely need to do before that happens? Any cards in our hand that become useless if something like that would happen? I'm unsure. I don't really think so. And adding any other units to the board would just be a waste, I guess. Nothing to Igni, so I guess we Triss his... We can Triss his Nanika. That's probably a safe approach. Let's go with that. Just adding a gold unit here to... Oh, that's actually a good target. That's actually the best target right now, because everything else would just take damage when Sabrina dies. For the uninformed, by the way, when Sabrina is destroyed, all of our units over here Oh, using Epidemic in combination with that. That's cute. That's cute, my friend. So expecting to use Aeromancy on Frost here, so let's go with Thaler right now, or do we really want to keep the Sergeant around? Let's actually see what we want to revive with Shani here. It's going to be a Reaver Scout on the Blue Stripe Scout, I think. Let's go with that.
Sure.
Yes.
Be glad to.
So a Reaver Scout on the Blue Stripe Scout, and we're also buffing the Blue Stripe Scout because that's something we can actually still pull out of our deck. Let's go with this. I think he may have pulled the trigger on the Sabrina a little early, but we are drowning him in card advantage right now, which isn't making his job any easier, unfortunately. Rush shoots Shani before we can possibly depromote her. I guess that's valid. Would we like to depromote Rush? That seems like a decent plan. If we're planning on frosting the melee row, then that is an excellent idea. Let's go with that. If he has a decoy to reuse it, I guess so be it. But the added strength difference of being able to frost the melee row, I think, is definitely worth it. Could have also been worth to Thaler away the Sergeant, since we are placing the Sergeant into the melee row in anticipation of a frost, so actually the strength difference isn't all that big, but it sure feels nice. Perhaps that should have been the best approach. We also have the Sergeant available to use as a depromote for his last card, which is not to be underestimated. Uses Radovid on the Sergeant. I guess we have actually already used all of our resurrections. I guess we would have had a Baron if there was one in our deck. We can actually mulligan away the Igni. I don't hate that. Sure, let's go and mulligan away Igni. Igni is only going to be an 8 anyway. And we win, alright. I guess our opponent didn't really have a chance anymore. Let's be completely fair here. But yeah, that was a decent example of how the deck's supposed to work, I think. So let's leave it at that for today. Hope you enjoyed. And the thing I'm trying to do with these videos is mostly that you don't need all of the fancy cards to have a competent deck and to do decently well in ladder. I'm pretty sure that if I had a little bit more of a stable connection, I could do pretty well on the leaderboard. Perhaps not reach any top 1000 places or anything. Connection issues again? Anyway, perhaps not reach any top 1000 places, but I think rank 5 is definitely within reach for a deck like this, and that's not too shabby, I think. So anyways, hoping you're having some fun with Gwent yourself, or you'll have some fun with it pretty soon, in anticipation of the new cards coming up in the next few weeks. I'm saving up some scraps, I'm excited, hope you are too. And thank you very much for watching, hope to see you again soon. Goodbye.